Good morning, everyone. Welcome. All right, we're good to go. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome to NVIDIA Omniverse Developer Office Hour. And if you are a regular here, welcome back. And let me know in the chat if you're here. Developer Office Hour is where I take questions that come up on the forums, on Discord, um, questions that people ask me directly, wherever it may come from. People want to know, and I want to help you all out. So um, I'll be answering developer questions that have come up. And then all the code that I show here is available in this repository here. And I have an extension for every day that I do this stream, and you can refer back to any past ones that I've done. There's this Omniverse FAQ link here that will help you browse all the questions that I've answered at a glance. And once I've gone through the questions that I have prepared, I just have two prepared for today. Then it's open forum. Whatever you want to ask, I'll do my best to try to answer it on the spot. Otherwise, I'll try to prepare it for the next time if it's something that I don't know or I'm not prepared to show. So that's it for Developer Office Hour. We'll get these little announcements out of the way before we keep going. This is our community calendar. These are live streams and events that are happening in the Omniverse community. And so here we are today with Developer Office Hour. I've got the USD with me, live stream on Tuesdays. And then we have lots of other events coming up. And then if you haven't already, please sign up for our Omniverse Insider program. So this is a form that you fill out. You can fill out just a little bit of information now and come back to it and fill out more. This is just telling us about who you are, what you do, what software applications you use, what type of work you like to do, so that when we have focus groups for testing certain applications, certain connectors for Omniverse, we can reach out to you and see if you've got some time to help us out and give us feedback on that. And then we also have partners and customers that sometimes they'll ask for experts, Omniverse experts that also know 3ds Max or that also know Houdini. And so we've got folks in the community that are are skilled in these things, and we want to be able to connect the right people together. So please check that out. And other than that, let's get started. So here we are. I'm going to pull up the first question here. How do I programmatically select a prim? Okay, so this one, I know I've shown this before, but I probably didn't have it prepared and I didn't have the question logged. So so we're going to do that today. Should be a quick one. So this has to do with selection in Omniverse. We want to programmatically select something. So it could be anything in the stage window can be selected, right? And so, we want to do that programmatically. And the way you do that, let's check out the documentation here. So I like to show how I get to these answers. So from docs.omniverse.nvidia.com, there is the Omniverse Developer Guide, and then there's the API search in here for Kit. And the relevant library is OmniUSD. This is something that is, everything in Omniverse is built on USD, but we've added API for the interactive application sort of things. USD doesn't have an API for selection. So we have this OmniUSD library that actually has that functionality. So In this extension, we have some classes here. This is a common one so we have the selection class. This is what we want to get at. But a common entry point in Omniverse when you're working with USD is this USD context. And in here, you can get an instance of the selection. So this will give you a selection object, and you can move on from there. So you don't need to create this object yourself. You just get it from the context. So let's get that far, and then we'll look at the rest of this. So here's my code, and I'm going to import OmniUSD. And like I said, the thing that we often do, the thing you'll often see me do is OmniUSD.getContext.getStage. But in this case, we just want the context, so I'll save this variable context. And then from there, I should be able to do context.getSelection. And we've got our syntax highlighting there, which is very helpful. And does this API show up? No, so we can be a little helpful here and say anything there. And now we get all of this API here. So what we want is just get selected prim paths. Okay. Oh no, I'm sorry. We want to select the prim that. So we want set selected prim paths. And there's two of these. One of these is deprecated. Set prim path selected. I think it's the one that sounds funky to read. Set prim path selected is the one that's deprecated. Let's see if we say it here. No, we don't. Let's we'll try both and see if we get a deprecation notice. Cool. And what this wants is a list of strings, which would be the prim paths. Also, I believe there's a command for this. Yeah, set selected prims. Select prims command, sorry. So also another option, we can look at both of those. I tend to want to just use OmniUSD because this isn't necessarily something that I'm interested in undoing. So that selected prim paths, and then we just give it the list of strings, which would be world and cone, and we can do a few of these, cube and sphere. Okay, let's start with the cone. All right. And then I can just Control P and run this in Omniverse. And what did I get? It wants both args, I think. Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, this is a no-op. This and that function was deprecated. There's the cone selected. I'm pretty sure if I change this to true, it doesn't really matter. Cube. And if I do the same thing with false. Yeah, and that part doesn't do anything. We can also look at the implementation here. Yeah, see, this one's more complicated, or at least it has more arguments that aren't needed. So this one's the one that's deprecated. But we can try it just to see. Set prim paths selected, and it wants a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try this one. This one is like, it doesn't even let you, it's a single string argument. So this is the one you want. And then we can do multiples, right? Come back here. And there we go. So that's using OmniUSD. And then the kit command is maybe more straightforward, but I'm just going to copy the selected command from the commands window. And this is what we want. And so you can leave old paths empty if you want, but let's be good citizens here. And we'll use the selection in order to, I'm actually just going to put these imports so we get the full example here. This would be the best way to do this is selection. And then for old paths, we do selection dot prim paths. Pretty sure that returns a list of strings, which is perfect. And then we tell it what we want for the new one. So we're going to deselect the two from before, and we will select the cone instead. And then optionally, you can say whether you want to expand the selection in the stage, and we can look at what that does in a moment. So I'm going to select, I already have these two selected, which is great. And then I'm just going to run this one. And this is hanging. I knew this was gonna, I already saw this coming. Let me reset. Any questions in the meantime about this, or if you want to start queuing up your questions for after this? It's coming. Here we go. Okay. Here. Cone, cube, sphere. There we go. So now it deselected these two and selected this one instead. And then I can undo and I get back to that selection. So if I had left this empty, if I'm lazy, I can leave that as an empty string. And what that's going to do is now when I run this, it effectively makes my undo useless, right? Selected the cone, but then when I undo, it just deselects everything. Not a horrible experience, but definitely not what we intended. And then I mentioned expand or not. When I select, say, the cone, and I'm going to go back and set that back to how it was. When I select the cone, it selected it, and it expanded world when it did that, right? Now, if I set this to false and run this selection again, here, and it also expanded, didn't it? All right, I might need to ask about that one. All right, but that gets us to what we were after is selecting programmatically. Cool. Any questions about that one? Any idea about viewport UI tutorial? Yeah, I do. I do know about a bit about the viewport UI tutorial that we did. So, shoot any questions, and I'll try to go through it. So I'm going to save this one, and then the next one. Let's jump to the next question if there are no other questions about this one. So the next question that came up was, how do I reset the settings and preferences for a Kit application? So what happens here is you might go to preferences, you might change some stuff here, and say stage. The default in code and create is Y up, and this is the default for when you create a new stage, right? So if I set this to Z up, and now I do a new stage, now I've got this to Z up, and maybe I made a bunch of changes here, and I'm like, oh man, I need to get back to the stock preferences because I made a mess of things. So we don't have necessarily a reset within the app, but what I can show you is how to find where this is stored, so that you can reset it that way. So from the launcher, you pick your app, you go here, you go into settings, you find the version that's installed, and you click on this folder. Okay, that's going to take you to where this app is installed. And from here, this is not where I wanted to send you, but I mean, it gets you close. This is where it's installed. If you go up to the OV folder and then into data, then Kit, and then this is all the Kit apps that I've run. And I was in code 22.3. And so you're going to get settings for every minor version of the app, right? And not for every patch. And this is where your settings are stored. User config.json. So in the question I phrased it as settings and preferences, but it's really the same thing. They are Kit settings that are being set. And so if I look for up axis, there it is. You can see here that it got set to Z here. So I could edit this manually and do that and make changes. But what I want to do is close out code first, close the app, make sure that nothing gets updated on close after you've made changes here. And then I can just delete the config. Then when I relaunch code, it's going to regenerate that config with the default configuration. There it is. And I could open that and confirm that we've got that Y up axis again, but I'll just go ahead and check it in the preferences here. Over from previous versions. So if you have lots of versions of the same app installed, you may want to just come up here. Let's go to create. I think I have quite a few here. Well, not that many. But you could come up here and search for user. me all of them. Oh, my computer's hanging right now. Come on, Windows. Well, you get the point. You come up here, you search for that file name, and it would recursively go in and find all of them. You could delete all of them together. Any questions about that? Bring up code again. Okay. Well, that's all I had for today. If you want to ask anything specific about the Viewport UI tutorial, please do. If you have any other questions, now is the time. Meanwhile, I'm going to see if I can kick this Windows search to do the right thing. It really doesn't want to respond. There we go. It just takes my input and dies. All right, I won't mess around with that anymore. Anything else? No questions? My memory's not doing too hot. It's all Chrome. All right. Well, if we don't have any specific questions, we can end early today. Next week, we'll be continuing with the USD with me, focusing on. I think I need to wrap up the asset, the variant sets for build. I'm going to build a kind of mock asset and show how you would structure your variant sets in there. Anybody got anything cool to show? Last week I showed some extensions. I was thinking we could do an extension roundup soon, where maybe I take a handful of extensions and we can show them off. So I think we've got some good new ones here. This one's new. I didn't see this one. So if you've got anything you're working on, let me know. And if you need a little bit of help to get it over the fence, whether you just need me to test it out and give some feedback, or if you have any code questions, let me know. Last week I reviewed this one, and there's a new release for this that's looking pretty good. So all right then. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. And I will see you next week. I hope you have a great weekend. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. All right, bye.